Hi, everybody. We have got a really exciting chat for you today because I'm speaking with Beth's Best Hair, the most beautiful, lovely Beth. How are you, Beth?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everyone.
It's
This is
really,
exciting.
it's so exciting to speak to you. I've been watching your videos for so long, and I know that you have a lot of Paula Young wigs that you've been showing recently, and I've
Mhm.
really been enjoying them. What are you wearing today?
Today, I'm excited to tell you that I'm actually wearing Estetica. This one is Verona, and the color is 1226 RT4, and it's lovely. I bought it from Tia Maria, and I do have a discount code for 30% off for your first purchase. So I'll be sure to give that to you so you can link it in the description.
That's wonderful. I'm
Yeah,
wearing Ocean, actually.
I love it. It's so
Ellen
beautiful.
Villa.
That color.
Yes, this blonde is so useful because I have got a medium brown hair shade, and as you can see, it just blends in with whatever, really.
So you're also wearing Estetica.
Is it Ellen Villa, I think?
Oh, okay.
I think, but then I might be wrong because I've got so many up there.
Oh.
I should have prepared. But Beth, it was so sweet of you to agree to speak to me, and it was very sweet of you also to send me some pictures of the journey that you've been on that started off with noticing hair loss. And that's something that I'm really keen to explore because I know that the majority of women who are wearing these wigs, I call them styles. are
Yes,
wearing
beautiful.
um, they come to these pieces because they're confronting hair loss in their life, and as women that's quite a difficult thing to do. What's your experience of that? How did your hair loss start?
Yeah, it is super difficult. Mine started with thinning hair in my mid 20s. And I remember being pregnant with our second child. We were building a house, and the new neighbor came across the street, and we were outside in the sunlight. And I felt so intimidated already at that time that you could see through right to my scalp. And I just always felt very inferior about it. And I came from big hair. So I didn't know what to do, and I never even thought about a wig. And when I got in my 40s, I discovered the hair fibers, and I had started wearing extensions. So my hair loss was right at the top, which I later found out was androgenic alopecia. And I started searching on YouTube, what on earth can I do? So when I was 50, I bought my first topper, which was John Renault. It was beautiful, but I really had difficulty getting it to blend. And I think toppers have come a long way since then. You can now buy your lace front toppers. At the time, it wasn't a lace front. You had to blend your own hair. And so finally,
Yeah.
when I turned 51, I bought my first wig, and that was Paula Young's Ashley. And I haven't looked back.
So what year was it when you're in those 20s? What year was it that you noticed your thinning hair?
It was in the late 90s.
In the 90s, yeah. And I wasn't even aware of, well, I was going to say I wasn't even aware of wigs myself. We're both very similar age. And
Mm-hmm.
my I had an older relative who led rather a glamorous lifestyle. She had a wig, but I remember when she wore her wig, all I could see was a nest of permatease. They
Yes.
put it on towards the front. Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember thinking, actually, this is very embarrassing because I can tell it's a wig and it's not particularly attractive.
Right.
So you had never heard of wigs, but how did you come to hear of wigs?
Well, I had heard of wigs in the same way as you. I
Right.
would see some older ladies at church when I was growing up, and it looked like they had a bird's nest on their head,
Yes.
and it was obvious. And so and maybe we're of the generation where there was like a negativity attached to wigs, which I honestly don't know why. Now that I wear them, I'm like, it's beautiful. It's like wearing jewelry. So when I started looking on YouTube, after I found out I had alopecia and I was almost 50, and at that point, well, I guess we weren't on lockdown yet. That was about 2019. And I thought, what on earth can I do? And so I did see wig videos, but I wasn't ready to take the leap yet. So I just kept watching videos. So I felt really confident when I did finally, 2020, September of 2020, I bought my first wig. And I felt really confident that I knew, okay, I have to play with it. I have to do this. I have to make it my own. I'd watched tons of videos.
Yeah.
And so I felt very confident. So when my first wig came, I rushed home from work because I had gotten the tracking, and I put it on. I played with it, and I started snapping pictures, which I had never done. Having thin hair and being plus size, nobody was ever going to take my picture. So, so this is a leap for me to put myself out there. But I sent it to my sisters, and I sent pictures to my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter was here. My husband was here, and they said it looks beautiful. It looks like your hair. And of course,
Let me interrupt you and let's go back in time a little bit because you look stunning.
thank you.
It's I can tell that you're really enjoying wearing that hair and all the confidence that it's giving you. But let's go back. Did you ever get a diagnosis of any kind of alopecia? Did you ever seek treatment for your hair loss?
I did not seek treatment via injections or anything like that. What I tried the topical creams, the like Nioxin shampoos, conditioners, the biotin vitamins, hair, skin, nails. But no, I never did anything drastic. I looked into like hair club for women and things like that. And it all seemed really drastic to me. And I was not ready to take that, not to mention the expense.
Yeah.
And in reading about it, you have to continue to do it because what little hairs are going to grow aren't going to grow once you stop those treatments.
Yes.
So I feel like once I finally accepted that this was my fate,
Yeah.
and I was going to put on a wig and I was going to make the best of it, that's when it really opened the doors for me. And I felt like once I put the wig on and I got the compliments, I was like, wow, I feel like myself again.
Yes. Well, I remember attending the hair clinic in London, and they actually treated the scalp, which is very sensible to do, because
Yeah,
a lot of the problem is in the scalp and the hair follicles.
right.
Part of the problem is there. Um, and I was having to go once a month. I was having to have this treatment. I was having to buy the special stuff that they were massaging my scalp with. And I
Right.
did notice that my scalp was less tense and less irritated. But I couldn't keep going all the way up to London and spending that money.
Right.
When I tried to take matters into my own hands, I remember buying a couple of lotions and potions, alternative remedies, I suppose you could call it, which always used to make this oily film
Yes.
over my hair and make my hair look even thinner than it was. When you're wet the hair or put oil on the hair, it makes your scalp even more obvious.
Right.
And
Right.
I spent a lot of time, and this is quite heartbreaking, really. It was in my 20s and 30s and 40s when I should have just been put loose and fancy free, spending a lot of time thinking about what's the best color to dye my hair, whereabouts in the room am I going to sit? My biggest worry was to have to sit under a bright light.
A light, yes.
There was nowhere to go. Most people kind of didn't really notice, but I do remember on one or two occasions when I was talking to somebody, and their eyes kept flitting up and penetrating, you know?
Oh,
And
yes,
you just have that feeling of just such discomfort and wanting to get away, but you put a brave face on it, right?
right. I totally understand. I feel like we have sort of that same journey because mine was 20s, 30s, 40s. You feel so intimidated, and I have a similar story in that 5 years ago, my youngest sister got married, and I was in the wedding, and my oldest sister was in the wedding, our mom. Well, everybody was going to get their hair done.
Oh,
I said, no, I can do my own hair. It's fine. You guys go have fun without me. And, I just like, it was awful.
yes,
So
yes.
I was in the hotel room by myself, and now I'm like getting all teary eyed. But
Yeah,
that was the worst. And I made what I had look good, but it was not fun.
no,
And I knew that I'm like, I have to do something. So, anyways,
yes. And I'm
yeah, I was
sending
very
you
eyed and I had nice makeup.
I'm sending you a virtual hug.
Thank
I
you.
know how you must have felt. And I think everybody listening understands the symbolism of hair on a woman. It's her crowning glory. There's so many things in our culture that tell us that beautiful hair is an extension of a woman's femininity, her youth, her beauty, her fertility,
Yes.
all of those
Yes.
things. And also the soft lines of the hair
Mhm.
actually frame your face, and they give meaning to your expressions.
Right.
Especially as a younger woman, if you want to do a little bit of dressing up, a little bit of flirting, should you be lucky enough to do so, um that's all doesn't work. It doesn't work when you don't have the hair. You sent me a photograph of when you were losing your hair. I'm going to put those photographs up, and thank you for your vulnerability in doing that.
Of
And
course.
also, you sent me a photo in all of your glory. You were wearing a blue top with this what looks to me like a widow's peak, even.
Yes.
Yeah, with and when women they put up their hair in a sort of a bouffant, and then they have this mane of hair at the back. That's what the photograph looks like. I'll put it up now. um
Yes.
and to lose hair at the front, there's nowhere to go with that. the
Oh,
fibers show at the front.
right. And I remember even asking my stylist in like my 20s and early 30s, what can I do? It's right here. It's right here. And like you said in that photo, I mean, I had all that was all my hair.
It was
And
beautiful.
I actually had quite a low forehead because my hair came down so far.
What a problem to have.
I know. So yeah, it definitely was really a challenge. And I think had I known more about toppers, I could have definitely done toppers in my 20s and 30s and even into 40s. But because I didn't really know about it and it hadn't come that far, I
Yes.
feel like alternative hair has come a long way.
Okay, so let's talk about the taboo of hair wearing. And when we're on our hair wearing journey, we all must climb that hill of trying to comprehend
Yeah.
what that taboo is all about and how does it affect us. So, did you ever have any feelings of resisting wearing hair because it was embarrassing?
Once I, before I started, yes.
Yes.
After I started, no. Because I mean, I still had an occasional thought of, gosh, I wish that I could just be my own hair. But then it's once you get into it, it's really fun to put on this beautiful hair and know that you look beautiful.
And you do.
And like you said, I mean, I had men, I'm happily married for 30 years, right? But I had men start to notice me, which was very odd because, like I said, as a plus size woman, now I'm in my early 50s. You don't expect, doors were never held for me. But all of a sudden, doors would be held. Oh, how are you today? Just little things like that. And it was shocking to me. And
It takes you by surprise, doesn't it?
totally by surprise. You know, I'm not 16 anymore, so I wasn't expecting that. But it definitely is the hair. I
Mm,
do think people treat you differently when you have beautiful hair.
they do.
And I've had random people tell me, your hair is so gorgeous, your colors are so beautiful. And when it's appropriate, I will tell them. But sometimes you're in a situation where it's a whole public area and you can't say, oh, by the way, I'm wearing a wig. Or maybe you can, but I don't choose to do that.
Well, you sent me another photograph, which I'll show, of your very first wig. Was that
Yeah,
was Ashley the first piece that you ever put on your head, or did you go for a topper first?
I went for the topper first,
Do you
but
remember which one it was?
it was a John Renault topper. It was like a top wave, I think the 12-inch top wave. And so what I would do is I would put the topper on, and then I would take some of the topper hair to cover my bald spot, and then I would put a headband on.
Right.
It kind of worked, but
That was the yes.
I didn't feel confident. I could never wear it to work. I wore it out a couple times, but I could never wear it to work.
So I'm curious to know what was it that I mean, what was your thought process when you went from resisting to committing to buying that hair? What was your thought process?
Oh my gosh.
Remember?
Well, we had been in lockdown, obviously. I had been working from home for a couple of months and doing Zoom meetings. So I was wearing the topper, but I had also been looking at wigs. Well, wigs are very expensive. And so I thought, well, maybe I could buy some like a Bobby Boss or some from like, what do you call the beauty supply store? Well, those are typically designed more for women of color. So I did like got some and I was like, oh my gosh, like these are costume wigs on me because the lace won't blend with my skin tone.
Yes.
What was I thinking? I think I did buy a Vivica Fox and I maybe wore that when I took my grandson trick-or-treating because I couldn't get that to work. So then I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to step it up. And then I started searching and I found a couple reviews on Paula Young and they were on Ashley. And I thought, well, that's a cute style. And I had kind of made up my mind that if I got a wig, that it was going to be similar to my color, but maybe a little bit shorter,
Right.
but similar to my texture so that nobody would guess, right? I was hoping nobody would know. So I had been wearing like hair extensions and the messy bun, and I had Topic on.
Yeah.
So nobody ever really saw my hair down.
Yeah.
And if I have it down, I usually sort of did the side thing and had a cascade here, and it was extensions. So when I went to work with Ashley and I gave myself the biggest pep talk, I'm driving to work. I'm like, you just go in there, you just with your head held high. I can't believe I even made it to work safely because I'm looking in the rear view mirror. I'm like,
Yeah. It's a very frightening thing to do.
And I walked in and one of my friends was like, oh my God, your hair, it's so beautiful. What did you do? And I'm like, oh, I just thought it was time for new hair, I said.
Oh,
But I didn't say it was a wig.
How did you feel when you were about to walk in? Petrified?
Yes, petrified. But then I just was like, you can do this, own the room, you got this, just go for it. And I've been watching videos
Mm.
and they were like, people don't notice. They do not notice.
That's what they kept saying in those days. I do remember.
And so, but everybody noticed, but nobody noticed that it was a wig.
Mhm.
I had to spin around in my cubicle and because they wanted to look at my new haircut from all angles. I mean, I had people going like this, and I was like, and they're like, God, your hair is so cute. Oh my God, I can't believe how different it looks. It's so cute. I just love it. And I thought, oh God, next they're going to ask me where I got my hair cut.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really prepared for that. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they won't ask you. And they didn't. They didn't ask me where I got my hair cut.
Yes.
Like, keep in mind, it's September 2020. So a lot of things were still kind of shut down, or by appointment only sort of thing. So it worked and nobody knew. And man, oh man, did my confidence grow by leaps and bounds. It was crazy. So definitely worth it. I was like, why did I wait so long? Why? I should
Yeah.
have been doing
Yeah,
it.
but certainly that first piece you get, it is the biggest. I mean, if I could say, I'll see if I can find this little video. This is of me receiving Mila, and it was in secret. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my children. I didn't tell anybody.
Mhm.
But like you, I had obsessively been looking at wig reviews and you sort of doing this, squinting at the screen, trying to
Yes,
understand the lace front, and people would be going like this. Look, it looks
yes,
like it's growing out of your head, and I'd think, but it does look like it's growing out of their head. How are they doing that? How
yes.
does that lace front disappear? So I decided to order Mila by John Renault, and I'm sitting in front of the mirror, and I hadn't seen hair on my head in those
Right.
places since my teens, just running my fingers through it. And then came the time when I had to tell Steve that I had bought this thing and I wanted to start wearing it. And of course, you have to prepare the ground before you actually go in.
Oh,
And I said to him, there's something, there's something that I really want to tell you. Um, and he actually thought that I was about to tell him I was having an affair. Yes, because I'd made such a huge thing out of it. So how did you
I'm having
introduce
an
it?
affair with my hair.
Totally, totally. So how did you introduce it to your other half?
So mine was very similar to yours. I didn't tell my husband that I had ordered a wig. And but my daughters knew. And I had kind of been telling my sisters, I feel bald. And although I wasn't, but it was kind of like the crypt keeper hair, right? But I kind of hid my hair loss from my husband because we worked different shifts. And so it was to the point where it was taking me almost 2 hours to get my hair presentable in the morning. And gosh, it just got to be a real struggle with all the topic, and it was a mess. And so he had always seen me with extensions and topic, and I colored my hair because my bio hair was coming in white gray. Um, so I finally just said, my hair, kind of like you, I'm like, it's really been a struggle for me and I'm going to get a wig. And he's like, well, why don't you just go to like one of those hair clubs kind of thing? And I'm like, honey, you don't understand. I'm like, it doesn't work. I'm like, it costs tons and tons of money and the results that you get are not going to be what you're expecting. And so when I put on Ashley and then I walked out there and he was like, well, yes, it looks great, but you got to give me a minute because now you look like your sister, he said. And so I'm like, well, nobody's gonna know. And my daughter's like, nobody's gonna know. That looks like you. That looks like your hair. You know, it was rooted and it was the same color. And so it took him a little bit. He's like, he even actually said, well, if it was me, I wouldn't wear a wig, he said. And I said, but it's not you, it's me. And this is how I feel. And he's always been very supportive. I mean, obviously, we've been married for 30 years. So you stay, we're not just together to be together. We're together because we love each other, we support each other. And so he said, and I, let me back it up. So I said, all I ask is for your support. And he said, you have my support.
That's
And
lovely.
yes. And then it took him a while. And then we were going to an event one day and I had my hair all, whatever wig I had on. And he said, you know, you look so beautiful. And he's like, you know, your hair looks better than everybody else's. I'm
Nice
like,
compliment.
exactly.
So, but you had that first wig. How long did you stay with one wig? Because you know there comes a time, doesn't there, when the penny starts to drop, and you're thinking, well, my goodness, I could have long red hair, I could have a short black bob. How did you proceed with your love affair?
So I loved Ashley. So I bought it in buttered toast rooted and honey rooted, and I had two of each. Because as you and I have talked before, wigs don't necessarily last forever. I mean, they can, but that fresh out of the box, and you're like, oh, it's so lovely, it's so soft. You kind of want that feeling all the time, and you get spoiled. So I wore those a lot. I mean, and we're talking every day for 10, 12 hours a day. And I would flip flop them. And so that I wouldn't wear them out as much. And I think I curled their, it was heat styleable. So I think I curled one and left one straight. And then I'm like, well, what if I bought like a curly one? And
Right.
so, like you, then I started looking and then I bought more. And then I would like try, I think I bought Deirdre and I wore Deirdre one day and oh, your hair looks so cute. I know they thought that
Yes.
it wasn't Ashley. You know, nobody knew. They still didn't know. And so I kind of started doing that. And then I moved on to a little bit longer and kind of found that sweet spot that I like. And I would say after Christmas, that I had started in September. At Christmas, I wore Mason, which was longer. And then after Christmas, the floodgates opened and I started buying more wigs. And then that April of 21, I started my YouTube channel.
Because you were buying a lot of wigs and you thought, well, look, I might as well share this with the world.
Well, I started on the groups on Facebook, Hair Loss Sisters, and I was posting pictures of the different Polly Young wigs. And at that time, that's what I was buying because that's what my budget could afford. And then somebody messaged me and they said, hey, you know, there's a Polly Young fan group on Facebook. You should join that. So I joined that and I started posting pictures. And then I got a lot of comments on how do you make it look so natural? Well, then I would post little video clips.
Right.
And why don't you have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
And that's when it started in it. And the light bulb went off. And I thought, you know what? I struggled for so long. If I can help just one person not have to go through that feeling, not have to feel like I felt at my sister's wedding. You know, I wanted to do that, which was scary. Even my daughter was like, Mom, you know, you put yourself out there, you might get a lot of negative comments. But I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna try it. And so I did. And there you go, I'm still doing it.
Yes. And so do you feel that now you favor the longer styles?
I tend to like a little bit longer. And I think because it makes me feel younger. I like your length that you're wearing, and about that length or a little bit longer. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
it. You feminine, you feel pretty. I'm still at the point in my life where I don't want to age myself. I'm still trying to catch that fountain of youth, right?
Well, and I think that there is those years before you actually become an old lady.
Yeah,
There is those years before that time when you can wear those longer styles and
yeah,
they still make you look younger. I'm
yeah,
sure that in the future I'm going to have to review the colors that I wear. I'm going to have
yeah,
to maybe get a little bit of the grays and the salt and peppers and the paler browns.
right.
Yeah, but for the time being, I'm going to make hay while the sun shines. You know that saying?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you became a YouTuber. Now you were the one reviewing the wigs that other
Yeah,
women
full
watch.
circle. Full
Yes.
circle.
Yes. Why do you find that it's important for you to review those wigs? Why do you do it?
for for the reasons that I was searching YouTube myself, because I want to help other people and other women who are suffering, because I feel like we don't have to accept our fate. We don't have to have thinning hair. We don't have to walk around feeling intimidated or bad about ourselves. I think everybody has the right to feel confident, to feel beautiful. And if my videos can show them how to do that, that's wonderful. That's icing on the cake. That's what I want to do. And I was very private about my wig wearing. Like I said, I didn't tell my coworkers initially. And then I started over time telling my closer friends, but it's gone on for quite some time. As a matter of fact, I have a little funny story in that I work in Parks and Recreation, but I also in 2020 was doing sort of a keto carnivore type diet, and I started a YouTube channel called Beth's Keto Kitchen. And some of the guys in the park shop had subscribed. Well, we had a big Christmas party, and I was wearing hair but hadn't come out of the closet yet, out of the hair closet. And the art director was like, "Oh, you cut your hair and it's curly. It looks so cute." And I'm just like, "Oh, thank you." But it was a big Christmas party, so I couldn't really say anything. So we're sitting at a round table, and there's like 40 or 50 people. So there's other tables. And my boss, the supervisor, the Parks and Rec director, was like, "Hey, everybody, do you know that Beth is famous? She has a YouTube channel." And I was like, "Oh, gulp. No." And I'm like, "This is when it happens. You should have just been honest from the start." I'm thinking, all these things going through my head. And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I was scrolling last night with my daughters." And he goes, "Beth's Keto Kitchen." Oh,
Yes, and it's petrifying, that
and a
feeling.
couple of the other guys were like, "Oh, yeah, we know. We subscribe. We love her recipes."
Gosh, and you just must have just kept your, under your hat for a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
A little bit longer, that's right. I get messages from ladies who watch my channel that are still telling me that they have bought their wig, but they're too frightened to go out
Oh,
and wear it. And I don't think they realize how that makes me feel. And they
yeah,
don't probably realize how I really know how they feel. Because when you've been through something like that, it's not something you forget. You always
right.
know that this isn't your real hair. And that actually the truth is that you're balding, which is a horrible word. I hate
Yes.
that word.
Yeah.
Even if I'm watching a film or somebody says a joke or something, and has that word in it, something inside me cringes, because it is a pretense. It's not real. And I go out and I often see women who are now where I was, and they were walking around the supermarket, and their hair, they've got very diffuse hair loss all over.
Mhm.
I can see straight through their hair,
Yes.
see straight
Mhm.
to their scalp. and I can see the look in their eyes that they're trying to hide. It is that feeling of being, um, you're not comfortable in your skin. That
Right.
that feeling really shows on your face. In a way, when that part is covered and you have the semblance of hair, you don't mind looking down in front of somebody anymore,
Right.
right?
Right.
You don't have to
Yeah.
sit in the right lighting, or which takes me on to the next point. Dating and intimacy wearing
Yes.
hair as women. What are your thoughts on that? Have you any experience of it?
Well, as far as dating, not really because I'm married, but I feel like if in today's society, I have daughters who are in their 20s, and wig wearing is pretty normal to them because it's a fashion statement.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I maybe you and I are from that era when there was this negative connotivity or just connotation attached to wig wearing, and it shouldn't be that way, right? It's fun, it's beauty, it's just extending our beauty. And so just like our earrings or our clothes. So I think it may be a little bit different for a younger generation because I think they are more open to it. Um,
Mm.
if I were to be dating, somebody who I just met, let's say you were doing an online dating and I just met them, I probably wouldn't say anything. But if I saw that this was going to maybe be a relationship, I think I would get to that point where if I knew, like, maybe, I don't know, third date, this is going to go somewhere, then I would say, oh, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed, I do wear alternative hair because I have alopecia. And I also love just the style of wigs and being able to change it up. And I think it's super fun and it adds a lot of spice to my life and hopefully some spice to your life too. So
Yes.
that's probably.
And I know we've spoken about this very, very briefly in preparation, but this was a week ago, I think we spoke.
Yeah.
Because I was telling you now your situation is slightly different because you're not really in the bedroom undressing and taking your hair off at night with your husband lying
Right.
back in bed watching you. Because that's the situation I'm in, and and it's always quite sad at the end of the day. I'm undressing. I really would like to just carry on looking the way I'm looking, and sort of just carry on with my hair. But then it comes the time when I have to take it off. It still makes my toes curl.
I know what you're saying because I do feel that way. My hair, I stopped coloring it. And I think I sent you a picture of the how it looked all kind of white and gray and scraggly. But so I had stopped coloring it, but it's terrible, right? So I finally just got fed up and I buzzed it. Now my husband, I had always been saying, I think I'm just going to buzz my hair off. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. And I'm like, why do you want to hold on to this? I hated looking at myself in the mirror after I took my wig off.
Yeah.
So he was gone for the weekend and I just completely buzzed it off. And I was so emotional and sad about it, but I don't know why because I hated what it looked like, right? I think it was just like that final realization that this is it. This is me and this is what I have to do for the rest of my life. But you know what? Wigs are the silver lining, so it's okay. But like you said, you have to take it off at night. So where I have the problem where my husband sees me in the morning. So
Wow.
he sees me in the morning and I'm getting my coffee. And now I have my hair buzzed and I have about an inch here of just white gray and it looks hideous. Although my daughter, she's so sweet. She's like, Mom, you can go out like that. People would just think you were artsy, she said.
Yeah.
And so he sees me like that. And sometimes he'll just go like rub my head a little bit and just, he'll be sweet about it. But
He
I'd
said,
like to look pretty for him. So
yes. And in those times when you do have those embraces, or those when you're close physically, I'm not trying to be crass, but you do
Yeah.
get close to somebody that you've had such a long-term relationship with. How do you manage the wig cap? What do you prefer? Any tips for us?
Oh, as far as like what do I wear underneath?
Well, what I mean is that do you ever get into a situation where
Oh,
he's hugging you, say, or maybe he's touching the back of your neck or something, and of course, his hand catches on the wig cap. Has that ever happened to you?
um, so yeah, I'll be like, don't
Yeah, get off.
don't pull it up. Um, so I tend to try to look pretty. So keeping a marriage alive, I think you just had your video out.
Oh
I
yes.
like to look attractive for my husband. He thinks I'm beautiful no matter. He thought I was beautiful with my crypt keeper half bald head.
Yeah.
So, but a little something pretty, a little teddy, whatever, and some long, gorgeous hair. I have specific hair for that specific
Do
reason.
you? And
And they're longer,
may
more
we
like
may we know which is your favorite in that respect?
I tend to wear some of those longer, like the braided ones from Paula Young that I took out. Those, or there's one from the wig company. Um, I can't remember what the name of that one is, but it's like long and luxurious and
Uh-huh.
kind of wavy and sexy. And
Yeah.
so I'll do that. So what I do when I still had bio hair underneath, I would literally like bobby pin to
Mhm.
my wig grip, my hair to the wig grip to the wig. Like, so I had bobby pins to hold it so nothing was moving. I don't want anything moving during the, you
No, it's
know.
very disconcerting.
So now I'll do just a little, even hairspray, underneath my wig grip. And then the wig on tends to be okay. If I feel it start to pull, I'll just kind of be like, oh, just give me a second.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I must say, I prefer it if my hair isn't touched. I mean, I just
Yeah.
don't want hands on my head, you know?
Yeah. He's not usually touching my hair, it's other parts, right?
Well,
So,
yeah, these things have got to be thought about because, a woman going through her wig journey doesn't immediately think about this part of the wig journey
right.
when
And
you're at the beginning. But there are things to think about, new situations that you're in. A little while ago, I put out a video about how I felt when I had a house guest, for example.
yes, yes. And I have had that. And I have had times where I've been with no hair and my grandson's dad has walked in and I'm just like, this is me. And then and then the one time, and this was probably last summer, and then I quick ran in, put a wig on, and then he said, oh, you don't have to put a wig on for me. I said, oh, I didn't put it on for you. I put it on for me, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's an awkward situation that you don't really think about. So if we have house guests, which we do frequently, um, just because my grandson is here, and so sometimes his dad will be here, or my daughter will be here, and she might have her boyfriend. So I'll have to get up in the morning, come into my bathroom, and I'll actually put on hair. I'm pretty comfortable now in that I kind of will wear shorter ones around the house or wavy ones, and save my longer ones for work. So I'll do that in the morning. So people are used to seeing me now in different hair all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And do some women say to you, you're so lucky that you're able to do this and have all of this lovely different hair?
Well, they haven't really said that, but I had this past fall, I was wearing Encore from the Jacqueline Smith collection in the Wildflower Honey. And the art director came in and she's like, gosh, your hair looks so pretty. She's like, did you color it? And so I've been 2 years now. And I said, Sue, I wear wigs, right? She goes, what? He said, I had no idea. She goes, I just thought you spent hours on your hair.
Really?
And I thought, how does her hair look perfect every day?
How incredible. How
Yeah.
incredible. Um, there is one thing, of course, that we should mention is that we have recently had the loss of Raquel Welch.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So such an icon, and her hair, all of the hair is beautiful. Oh
And
my
I
goodness.
remember a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, she came on to an interview with a British interviewer. She looked $1 million. She had a fabulous body. She was wearing a bodycon dress, really tight all the way.
Oh goodness.
Her face was flawless, and her hair, she always used to use, when she wore her personal wigs, they were that kind of a reddy chestnutty color,
Yes.
that
Yes.
tawny reddy color, and she used to flick it away from her face. She looked glamorous, she looked youthful, she looked
Mhm.
sophisticated. I was entranced when I was watching her in that interview. And what an amazing thing for us that she chose to go into the wig industry.
Oh my goodness. Totally. And I know Paula Young carries Raquel Welch now. I just was on the phone with them yesterday, and we were talking about that. And like, well, there are a number of styles that I want. So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
lovely. I just think these women, and like Jacqueline Smith as well, and she was very good friends with Raquel Welch, that they're doing this because they want women to feel beautiful, and they're trying to normalize it for all of us.
Mhm.
And I think you might notice too, when I even turn on the news, and even my daughter will say, Mom, do you think she has on a wig? Do you think she has a topper? I'm like, well, she's
Right, yes.
definitely wearing a topper. I can tell because we wear wigs, so we know.
Yes.
But the general person would not know. I never looked
No,
before.
it never occurred to me.
No, I just thought everybody had gorgeous hair,
Gorgeous.
except me.
Exactly. Well, listen, it's been the biggest pleasure talking to such a like-minded soul who's been enjoying, well, and having the courage to wear hair. So, um,
Yes.
and I'm going to continue watching your brilliant videos.
And I love yours. I
Thank you.
think I was watching you maybe even before I bought my first wig. Have you had your channel for a while?
I
Because
have,
there
yeah,
was an outing that you had where you and your husband went out for the day, and you went to the park,
yes.
and,
Oh, yes, 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 yeah.
and I just thought I love those little videos, and your husband just seems like a sweetheart.
He's very supportive. And
That's
I'm constantly, for a joke, sending him links to wigs that I think might suit him, because they have the wigs for men as well, but
yeah.
he's not interested.
Well, and circling back to what you were saying, how women have said to you, well, I bought my wigs, but I haven't worn them out in public yet. And I want to encourage anyone who's watching who's on the fence, just put it on. And as we say in the wig world, make it your own. Don't be afraid to play around with it. You have to style them up a little bit. Even this aesthetica, you might have to put a little dry shampoo. It might seem a little bit shiny. Play around with it, make it your own. And baby steps are okay. Wear it around your house. Wear it when you're out mowing your lawn, even. I mean, wear it to the post office. And then, how did that go? Okay, now let's try a trip to the grocery store. How did that go? If you need to take those baby steps, do that. And I think that you will be surprised at, if people are staring, many times it's because they think your hair is beautiful. And then a lot of times they will tell you that your hair is beautiful. Because that has happened to me just out in the grocery store. I was shopping at Aldi, and I was wearing Deirdre, and I had it in an updo this past summer. And a lady came up to me I did not know her. She said, "Your hair is beautiful. I love how you did it. I love everything about it. I love the color. I love the curls. Did you style it yourself?" Asking me a million questions. Well, of course, there was a man in the aisle behind me, and he just wouldn't move. So I should have said something, but I didn't because I didn't want to make a scene.
Yeah,
But I was just like, "Thank you," you know. But sometimes it's okay to say, "Oh, by the way, you know it's a wig."
yeah.
And then they're always surprised.
Always.
Nobody ever believes it.
I know.
So wear the hair and feel good about yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Really, really sensible words of advice. And I hope that those ladies do make that step today. Go and put
Yeah.
it on today. All right. Thanks so much, Beth. And I will speak to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
Take care.
Bye.